Republicans are attempting to legalize cannabis, reigniting pot stocks. No, this is not from The Onion. We're going to dive into a report about how there's 21 governors signing a letter to Congress supporting marijuana banking and Republican-led attempt to legalize it at the federal level, and ultimately the rally in cannabis pot stocks, all coming up. Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Cannabis stocks could become hot news on Wall Street bets after the report that came out that a new Republican congressional bill is imminent. So, text of the draft legalization obtained by Marijuana Moment talks about how Representative Nancy Mace, a Republican out of South Carolina, is leading an attempt to legalize pot. So, titled the States Reform Act, it's being examined by stakeholders for feedback. It's subject to change before the official filing later this month. So, it's another development to prove to be an active cannabis year for Capitol Hill. Also for Washington State, we have 5 cannabis bills. I'm going to be talking about cannabis cafes and how it's a Class C felony. I'm writing a bill to overturn that. So that podcast will be coming up as well. So there are some people in favor of cannabis research and veterans as well. That's all good stuff. So hopefully that this would allow, here's the breakdown. It's going to allow federal descheduling and treated in a manner similar to alcohol. 3.75% tax. Okay, that's cool. But on top of the 37% we have in Washington, damn. But here's the issue. There's going to be a whole lot of enforcement, a whole lot of regulators, because you know how they like to do it. So here's the problem. The chief regulator for cannabis in respect to interstate commerce, well, that's the Treasury Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Trade Bureau. But that's going to be different though. The FDA is going to have limited regulatory authority for cannabis when it comes to medical. So they're going to have everything to say about having prescription sizes, certificate designations, approvals for regulatory pharmaceuticals, but they can't ban cannabis or its derivatives. Raw cannabis, that's going to be the USDA. Good news is they're going to grandfather existing state licenses and then work to kind of have a safe harbor for companies that are acting in compliance. In the meantime, you have to be 21 or older. They are going to expunge anyone who had a non-violent cannabis conviction. SBA is going to force everyone to treat cannabis businesses the same. Hopefully that's all inclusive with social equity program. And then federal agencies could, in theory, still test for cannabis. And then the Bureau of Labor Statistics is going to be required to cover cannabis, the cannabis industry. So more jobs, more data, more information. Definitely the most bipartisan issue right now, which is crazy that Republicans and Democrats are like in this together, because everything else is just an absolute shit show, dumpster fire. So they got to kind of focus on something. And I told you it's going to be revenue. They know they're broke. They're seeing quantitative easing and they're just shitting their pants. So at this point, legalization has never looked more juicy. It's got to look good for anybody who's following Nancy Pelosi's stock picks too. The bipartisan efforts to legalize cannabis has sparked some positive sentiment along the Wall Street bets crowd. On Friday, there's a notable position that spiked positive conversions surrounding the ETF MG Alternative Harvest ETF, ticker symbol MJ. I don't know if Nancy Pelosi bought that or not, but that looks like it's going to be a decent one. One caveat, other investors are piling in MJ, the ETF that holds a notable pot companies. I mean, it hasn't done that great, but it's all right. Tilray, complete dumpster fire. There's also some other companies in there. So point is, if legalization is filed in the near term, I bet you that the Wall Street bets folks will be all over pot stocks. And so MJ might be a decent ETF to look at. if they don't move fast enough, you're going to be looking at least 21 governors signing a letter to get banking, which is going to be a huge ordeal, huge issue. One of the major hurdles holding back the cannabis industry that would allow so much, including just making your bottom line look a lot better, the ability to write off employee expensive, eliminating 280E, that provision that doesn't allow you to do that would make companies' balance sheets look so much cleaner, and allow them to be able to borrow to do simple things like buying automation equipment or expanding into different states, growing bigger, adding new SKUs, all of those things. So with these governors on board, in 21 of these states, that's going to be huge. So hopefully that follows suit and people get that. That's almost half of the nation's governors kind of writing a letter just this last week, urging them to move forward with the Safe Banking Act. So that could just put a fire under the existing federal legalization. And the excitement could end up working to be another rally for pot stocks, but let's kind of put that into perspective. So all in all, after that legislation was put in, you could look at it at worst, the proposal being a brilliant politics grabbing hold of the debate and offering a comprehensive, a compromise rather, between all or nothing. So the Democratic proposal and the simple descheduling favored by many Republicans, market reacted with enthusiasm. It pushed up one of the advisor shares, cannabis ETF, by 9.5% on the day. So, but a bit of perspective with this graph, you can see an investment of $100 in any one of the three baskets of cannabis stocks at the end of the year 2020. The blue line on the graph, you can see the performance of a tier one basket comprised of equal dollar weighting for the large 9 MSOs for the year. So blue line is the 9 largest MSOs, and the orange line is a tier two basket of the 11 companies that have less than 500 million market cap, but at least 50,000 in average daily volume. Green line is a performance of the 7 Canadian LPs. And the question is there a rally? So since May, few upward blips have generally coincided with the fresh legalization related rumors. The last couple of Novembers, definitely, with the election, and then this last bill in November again, kind of creating that little pop since May. Some of those blips coincided with fresh legalization rumors, only to fade away into the following weeks. So it's kind of expected that similar results with this rally. So slow progress towards federal legalization mixed with a difficult third quarter comparisons is likely to make for some good profit taking opportunities, take some money off the top there. Year to date's counterintuitive. So the Canadian LP is the only one up there for the year with a gain of 2.5%. The tier one MSOs, the darling of the markets, they're the worst performing group. They're down 25% year to date without a single basket company in positive territory. Tier two, they're down 14% year to date, shows that it's still a stock pickers market. Viridian Equity research team, they published a note today that continues to not expect any legalization until at least 2022 at the earliest. So definitely not going to be anytime soon. So don't hold your breath. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.